Greetings, sir and sirettes, and welcome back to From the Depths with me, Elathrix, and of course, welcome back to the sandbox mode where today we're going to be trying to do something a little bit weird. We're going to see if with all the new prefabs currently available in the unstable branch, can we make a design completely using only the prefabs currently available. Now, of course, this won't cover things like just standard armor, which I will have to place myself, but the overall hull, the weapons, the engines, everything else, I'm going to try and use the prefab. So anything I can, I will use them, and let's see how far we can get. So to begin with, how are we going to do the hull itself? There's a couple of options here, the first of which is some of the smaller options, like here, the medium hulls, which I think would be the easy option, or we could go a little bit weird using the larger option, or we can make it far more difficult on ourselves and use the huge option. Naturally, being the person I am, we're going to go with the more difficult option. So that is hull part A. We can go ahead and put down part B right now. Just destroy that, there we are. So prefabs, part B, and I'm assuming this just attaches like that. Unless these are meant to overlap. No, I'm assuming it's just back to back like that. Yet that certainly makes sense. And it's using our fleet colours, I believe. Although it could just be its natural colouring. Anyway, so let's have a look, see at what shape we've got available. First of all, that looks bloody amazing and better than pretty much any hull I've ever made. So, already a bit jealous of the people who've been making these. I'm assuming they have all been sent in via the community, and honestly there are some insanely good builders there, so that certainly makes sense. And that is just so much space. Yeah, okay then, next up, we of course need our weapons, our engines, and our AI. In fact, I'm fairly certain there is an automatic AI as well. Yep, there is an AI already set up, so I'll put that down in a second. What we need to do is decide, I'll just throw it down there for a second, is decide where everything's going to go, and then I can put up the armor in between them myself, because, well, there's no point in prefabbing just a line of metal, for instance. With weapons, we have mortars, we have smaller cannons there, we have the old prefabs. Do we have just yep, we do indeed just have standard cannons, so we could quite easily make this a cram build. Probably not mortar, although we do have plenty of space. We could put down some mortars here and there, but I think I'm going to stick with a more traditional build. With advanced cannons, do we have them? Yes, of course we do. We have loads of cannons here as well, so we need to decide which one we're going to use. Is that a... How many barrels? 8 barrels. Tiny cannon. Well, not tiny, obviously, it's quite big, but for that many barrels, I wonder if they are belt-fed loaders as regular. Either way, it's the 1 meter auto-loaders, so not particularly large shells, but a lot of them. So, how are we going to do this? I'm thinking probably cram, since I don't really know that much about advanced cannons yet, but maybe a mix of both. Yeah, maybe a mix of both. I think on the front we're going to just add a small cram cannon and then go from there. So, where's the one I was thinking of? There we go. That's absolutely tiny. That way we can use the bottom of the hull for something else. So I'm adding an extra layer here around all of the outside, but I am going to keep editing the overall shape of the hull to a minimum. I will add some things to it, obviously, but try to keep the basic shape as the basic shape. So I'm doing all of this, and then I'm going to build up some metal here, and then have the next 2 guns probably here and here, because the one thing we are lacking is really oversized weapons. And this is a really big hull, so we are likely to have loads of multiple weapons rather than just one particularly large weapon set. Although, what I'm hoping is, wow, there are plenty of these, is that we can spam some torpedoes, because we have loads of space at the very bottom of the hull, and these weapons do not reach the bottom. So we have loads of space for ammunition, for fuel, even potentially ammunition production. There's going to be loads of stuff here. So, the first thing, though, is really just making sure we know where everything is going to go. Then we can start armouring up around them. Hence why I've built a little box around it, just so I know, this is it, space, do not cross. That looks really silly, but I kind of love it. So, yeah, we're having those there. So, all this armour is going to go down, just for this section, and then back up. And then we're going to have one of the advanced cannons here. Then likely 2 of the smaller versions elsewhere. Now, how much of a bridge am I going to give this thing? Probably very little. Once again, I don't want to change the overall design all that much. And adding a bridge and everything else, that's me adding way too much of my stuff into this, and the whole point of it is, how much can we keep it just with the prefabs? And apparently I can't read because I thought I'd said 4, and it actually says 3. This is why my builds take so long, not because they're particularly good, but because I'm particularly incompetent. So I've been thinking, I think I'm going to allow myself to use simple weapons as well, because the reason is I don't design them. In no way am I designing these, and even some of them, like these, act like advanced cannons. They use the customized shell and all the stats of an advanced cannon in a tiny adorable bundle, so I will be using those as well. So right now I have 4 of the small cram cannons there, one of the small but not quite as small at the very front. This leaves me plenty of space at the front to use for whatever I want, and then I think I'm going to add one of the larger advanced cannons here, and then 2 of the small ones, if I can, on the side here, so we have loads of cannons already. Now, these cannons here are really vulnerable. They're going to be knocked out fairly quickly, but they're also incredibly cheap and disposable, so I don't really mind all that much. Okay, trying to stay with as much stuff as possible, which is just with the prefab, so our designing is very, very limited. So here's something that's interesting. I thought that all of those were turrets, but actually this one here, the Pearl, which is an anti-air one, I believe, has no turret base. No, it's static. It just looks very turret-like. Surely that's a turret. It's so perfectly circular, but no, it looks like that is indeed a regular static thing. So I don't really think we're going to have much use on this, if we're going to go with the whole broadsiding element. So goodbye. I'm really sad to say goodbye. It's also an anti-air one, which I think is really cool. Definitely need to mess around with that in the future. Also, it turns out there's always templates at the bottom. Now, I believe what these are here for is essentially to showcase where you can place a turret and still have it turn. Or something like that. Maybe it's that? Maybe it's not. It's difficult to say. Either way, though, it's definitely for helping out turret creation. Not really focus on it too much. So let's have a look see at this one then. This is definitely a turret. Am I correct with this one at least? Yep, there it is in the center. We can see the actual turret piece. So this is using 2mm auto loaders. Oh, look, it even has the shell inside. So it's basically telling you what shell it wants. That I really like. As someone who's terrible at designing shells, that is lovely. So I'll place this one here instead then. Or I could use the ruby, which is bigger, and by the looks of things, it's a railgun. Once again on the turret, yeah, I think we'll use the railgun instead, although it looks a bit smaller. We could have 2 of these. On a broadsider, I know it's silly. No, I think we'll stick with this one, because it looks a bit more substantial, and then on the back we'll have the railgun. I keep on changing my mind. I don't know, I want both. Oh, I was incorrect again. Even this one isn't a turret. So clearly, what you're meant to do is put them onto a turret. That's what's really going on there. So, yeah, that means we can use the AI quite easily if we just put it on a turret base ourselves. That's doing a little bit of work, I guess, but not really. I mean, the whole thing's designed already. All we're doing is literally placing down a single block and then putting it on top of that. So, yeah, that's fine. So we're definitely sticking with the AI gun then. Later on, at the back. So my question is, what is this block? Place it down, it vanishes. Certainly looks like it's a turret piece, but I could be going absolutely mad. Or I could have long gone mad. It's hard to tell. So what I'm thinking is we'll place this one here quite far forwards. Then we can have one of the others there. Then we can just put some stuff on the side to make this look more filled out. The anti-air one can go here. And then we'll just put down whatever we have spare here. Of course, we also need the ability to move back here as well. So, yeah. So it turns out that one's quite low gauge too. Okay, well I'm happy to place it where I've placed it then. Just edit the armor around it and everything, that's fine. Then we'll have, I'm assuming, a larger gauge weapon here. And then we have plenty of space on the side if you want to add any simple weapons or anything else. Plenty of space. And these gaps here can be really useful for a number of things. Once again, simple weapons, detection, munition warners, missiles, for instance, could be very easily placed here. And we do have a lot of options for all of them. We even have options if we want to go with the particle cannons. Look how adorable this little turret is. It's so cute. That has to be a turret piece then. This one isn't actually loading. Oh, because I'm not actually on the hull, that's why. Yeah, that's definitely meant to be a turret piece. I don't know why the other ones aren't loading then, that's just a bit weird, but that is so insanely cute. Love that. Probably won't be on this build because that'll be a bit short range, but love it nonetheless. So let's start making some space for this thing. So these shells, I believe, are, if I can find them, yep, pure armor penetration. So 120 is the gauge, I believe. Oh no, it's a hollow point end. Never mind, I did not pay attention to that. I was just looking at the warheads. That's a decent amount of damage and quite a fast shell. So, in fact, a very fast shell. These things are going to just cross the map in a second. Against lighter enemies, this is going to be brutal. Against anything with shields, well, they're going to laugh at it a little bit, but then probably also be hit in the face. So, you know, they'll laugh for a bit, then less so. Alter the armor up it all. Make sure it can still spin, then we'll work on what's going next. This is going to be a proper gun spam, which I'm okay with. Those cannons don't seem too strong. Or am I going mad? Wait, are they going through the target? No, they are stopping, I think. You see, I say that I don't think they're very strong, then I just saw things breaking off on the inside. They are going through several layers, I think. Also, buoyancy is not currently our strong point. To be fair, we ought to say lump of metal. Yeah, it's not doing that much damage, but how fast those shells are going, they are going to be really deadly versus very light craft and flyers. The shell's going 1,200 meters per second, so yeah, they're going to hit things just fine as long as you have a good enough detection system. Okay, so that's where that's going to go. It looks a bit flat here, honestly. We could do quite a bit with this, and I probably will. Something like just bring the armor up a little bit around the edges. Nothing too major, because I don't want to get in its way too much. Probably finish it off here-ish. Then start going up. There's going to be a lot of empty space at the moment. We're going to have to work with that. So we could easily put another small weapon here. Again, simple weapons are going to be our best friend, I think, just filling in all the gaps. So goes up, and then we either have 2 weapons or 1 major weapon. If the weapons are a little bit larger, it would definitely be 1. So that's what we just put down. Wow, the cost of the pearl is so much more than this one. Yeah, this is far cheaper than all of them, actually, so we have to remember that. Although it is quite large looking, it's not meant to be the powerhouse of the cell. Could put this somewhere like here. Is this the one which is also, yes, that's a railgun. Put that there. We could go with a large cram cannon instead, though we don't really have any of those, actually. Yeah, all the heaviest cram cannons we have are mortars, which would fit so well there. I mean, you shouldn't put it there, because some of those bits are explosive, and they're right next to 1 layer of armor. Really like this. But come on, it just fits so well. A couple of mortars at the back might not be terrible. Could have them like this, just for the fun of it. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Just some of the weapons aren't quite big enough, really, to fill the space. That's the issue. That's a decent size, but it's going to look quite small. I mean, that's the size of it. If we put it, like, there, that'd be okay, as long as we put some stuff along the outside. Yeah, so let's not raise the sides as much, so keep the sides there, or perhaps even go down again, similar to this section. So this dips, then we have 2 smaller weapons here and here. Then we just have the center almost like a block going up. Probably from about here. That's probably enough space for something small, yeah. Maybe. Maybe. Love the look of this one. That's an angry looking prefab. So this is using a lot of frag, actually. with a hollow point head. And once again, this is a railgun. Though we'll get onto that when we get to it. I do want the larger railgun here as the main weapon, and then perhaps we can put down 2 smaller railguns, one here, or some more crams. We'll get to that when we get to that. For now, though, let's just armor this up as best we can, and see how much space we have for everything else. So right now, this turret at the front can't turn. And I have been looking at every single piece of armor I've added. I have added the turret back again so many times to figure out where on earth is it catching? It's clearly not catching on this. Until I realised something. Look at the hitbox on these bloody railings. They are huge. So I'm almost certain now, if I do this, just to be safe, now I spawn the enemy, and we're getting further until these railings cause an issue. It is just the railings. I expected it to go at least here, and then there are other things in the way, but that was the main thing confusing me. Okay. Well, at least I managed to solve that much, so now we can continue. The problem is, of course, I don't want to edit the prefabs at all. And that includes that. Very minor change there, but yeah, I still don't want to do that, so I've got to work with that as best I can. Now, I know where it's hitting currently, and I was thinking this would be okay, but yeah, I wanted to be able to turn a little bit more than that. So, let's remove this turret again, or at least fix it. There we go. Oops. Okay, remove it completely. I'll put it back, and I'll work the armor around the very annoying railings. Okay, a couple of the heavy mortars there and there, since we didn't really have enough space for any movable turrets. Same over here, but we do have loads of space underneath, so most likely I'm going to put a small missile system in both sides. If we do have access to a small missile system, then I'm thinking about adding some of these here. So these are actually on turrets, and they are pretty nasty looking. They are fairly small, but they're going to pack a punch. Just a really slow reload time in order to do that. I wonder if it's been delayed at all. Nope, so it's just going to fire every 17.86 seconds. Okay. Now, I am going to allow myself to do one thing. Required accuracy before fire, I am going to put a minimum for everything. That's one of the only things I'm going to allow myself to do, because the amount of times I've seen cram cannons miss because of that, and that's really not fair. And believe it or not, these are going underneath. We'll have to make them look a bit more natural. We don't really have enough space over there, and I did try some of these smaller crams, some of these smaller mortars, I should say, but the problems are that the mortars tend to be very square, and that makes the explosive elements way too close to the edge, and way too close to these. Because these can be laid flat like that, we have at least 2 layers of armor on all sides, minimum. So let's figure out if I can add any missiles or something else here, then we'll continue with the latter half of the boat. This is taking way longer than expected, but it is a lot of fun trying to work with things which have already been given to you, rather than making everything by yourself. It's challenging in different ways, but maybe, once again, that's just my general incompetence. More mortars, there we go, because they're just really easy to fit in wherever I've got some spare space for armor, so I can choose to either have armor or more mortars. And I believe, yep, they do have the local weapon controller already given to them. Those are some yellow shells. I wonder why. What are you even made of? I'm assuming you have some kinetic... Yeah, okay, so you're going to go into the enemy and then detonate, destroying everything inside. Let's have a look, see if these actually land their shot. Oh my god, that velocity, though. The range on these is going to be fantastic, but anything which moves erratically, these are going to just really struggle with. Probably would have been better against an enemy without just 1 layer of armor left. It doesn't look that impressive otherwise, really, does it? Also, I am starting to run out of time. There's a good chance we may have to post this in 2 separate videos. I did not give myself enough time for this at all. Massively underestimated the complexity, even when we have everything given to us. Ooh, a large missile. Excellent. Okay, yeah, we can definitely have missile systems everywhere. I mean, look at all these options. I'm sure we'll find something which will fit pretty much anywhere. Is that a turret? Oh, it's a mine launcher. Cool. I love mine launchers. Never use them. Really should. What is this? Oh, is this like a bombing section? Yeah, it almost certainly... Oh, okay, I mean, it's actually called Bombay, so that would have been a hint, really, wouldn't it, if I actually paid any attention, ever. Still, though, that's a nice front to the craft. Lots and lots of weapons forced in there, and loads of space at the bottom for lots of other stuff. The problem with having torpedoes is I will have to break open some of this hull, so it will be editing the hull itself, but very minorly. I'm going to allow myself that, at least, because it is still keeping the overall shape. It's just poking holes in it. Just going to armor up what I've already got first. Okay, that's all armored up now, except for the gap I'm leaving there for the missile system. So I've decided I am going to be splitting this into 2 videos. I did not give myself enough time to do this, and honestly, I'm all out of time for today, completely, in terms of recording in general. So I'll be coming back to this very soon, so expect part 2 within a couple of days of part 1, because, you know, editing and all that, there is normally a delay, and I will still be working on other videos and other From the Depths videos in the background as well. This has been loads of fun. And I can't wait to see the finished design in action. It's going to be a really weird mismatch of all different types of turrets, and maybe I'll go back and change my mind about where certain weapons are. But right now, this is how it looks. It already looks fantastic because the hull just looks amazing in my opinion. Just whoever made that, fantastic job. And I really hope you've enjoyed the video. Something a bit different, something a bit just... well, in my spare time. So, if you have enjoyed, then of course, likes, favourites, shares, comments, all that good stuff helps out me, helps out the channel, and most importantly, shows that From the Depths is a series you wish to see continued in the future. In the next episode, we'll finish this off, and do some combat testing with it. I think it's going to be a pretty decent craft. An expensive one, but a decent one. Thank you, and goodbye.